or a murderer in disguise.
No more Mr. Nice Guy.
He is here.
You know the signs.
Justin, Erik, Nathan, and Joseph, tell us what to do.
And you're listening to The Hysteria Continues.
Bonjour, welcome to The Hysteria Continues. And the reason I say bonjour, my French greeting, was in relation to the movie we're covering today, which, as I said in the last episode, it's kind of like a Freaky Friday. I've kind of swapped bodies, as it were, with Nathan. So this could be termed, I would term a Nathan the Pig. To be fair, Nathan, this is one you suggested that I should look into for my book on From Hell Thrillers. But having watched it, I definitely would say, and of course the movie we're covering today is Murder-in-Law from 1989. So it's a film that kind of very much kind of covers bridges the gap between the From Hell thriller, I think The Stepfather, to the kind of early 80s and mid 80s slashers. So I think it very much fits into our wheelhouse. I'm looking forward to covering that. But Nathan, are you delighted to be getting a visit from the mother of all mother-in-laws?
Oh, yes. I'm very excited. I didn't think we'd ever cover this.
Stranger things have happened. So, and talking of stranger things, Erik, and I'm sure your joke of the week will make us all...
It'll make you chortle and chuckle.
Is it going to be like a mother-in-law joke?
I'm not that predictable, Justin.
Did you used to get mother-in-law jokes in the United States? Because they used to be really big in the UK in the 70s.
Yeah, the mother-in-law is kind of hated for some reason in culture. I don't know why, but...
Well, if you watch this film, you can see why.
Well, yeah.
Possibly, yes.
I imagine Mrs. Voorhees would have been a pretty bad mother-in-law as well, if Jason ever got married.
That would be a kind of an odd spin-off, wouldn't it? If Jason went on 90 Day Fiancé or something.
Yeah.
I wonder how that would work out. Probably not so well. Or Married at First Sight. But that'd be great, though, wouldn't it? You could turn it into a slasher movie and kind of chase down all the couples one by one.
Oh, now I want to watch it.
Yeah. And Joseph, how are you doing this fine morning?
Can't complain, so I won't.
Are you sure you didn't wake up with a spring in your step because you knew you were covering Murder-in-Law?
Well, but I actually just woke up about 10 minutes ago, but I'm ready for Murder-in-Law.
Well, as you know, if you've been watching or listening to the podcast for the last, couple of months or so, we're going to get straight into the movie, no messing around.
Did you sleep well?
No. Your fuck sounds kept me awake all night.
Mother, we do not talk like that in this house.
Billy, finish your breakfast.
Murder-in-Law is a kind of my pick in so much that Nathan recommended this movie and said I should look at it for my book on From Hell Thrillers, but keep on plugging. And I had a thoroughly fun time with this movie. I was surprised how much I enjoyed it. It's kind of low budget-ish, although from my research, it was actually shot on 35mm. So it wasn't shot for video. It looked like it was, I don't know what it was shot for, to be honest. But the basic premise of this is it's one of those indictments of the modern, late 80s American mental health care system, because you have this woman called Millie, middle-aged woman who's in a cell, who just basically decides to break out of an asylum, doesn't she? She packs a suitcase and just lets herself out of the asylum, which is surprising, and then kills an orderly, impales an orderly on the way out, and then turns up at her son's house, played by Joe Estevez, who of course is the brother of which one is it?
Martin Sheen.
Martin Sheen, of course, and obviously the uncle of Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez, who is kind of known for a lot of these kind of lower budget sort of 80s kind of what the fuck type movies. And this, he's kind of playing a suburban husband. They're living in this kind of big kind of mansion in Pacific Heights in San Francisco. And his mother turns up and then proceeds to be the mother from hell. And the reason I said bonjour is she says that she's been living in Paris for the last 10 years. And I love the way that she kind of shows that by wearing this beret at a jaunty angle. So they're all convinced that she's been living in Paris, when in fact it turns out she actually was living in the French Quarter in New Orleans, I think, and murdered a French sculptor boyfriend, which is also the reason she carries around this really ugly sculpture. So she sets about kind of basically berating Joe Estevez and his wife Arlene and their two children. And the two children, who are both about 26, 30 years old, but playing teenagers, take the piss out of their grandma and call her Christina Wrinkly, and just basically pretty horrible to her. But then the grandma also kills the family cat, turns into a stew, and then things go worse from there. So essentially it kind of ends up this kind of battle between Arlene as the mother-in-law and Millie as the grandmother. Joe Estevez is in it as a sensible lead, but he goes for about quarter of the movie he goes on a golfing trip, and then the last quarter of the movie he goes on a fishing trip. So I'm not sure if they couldn't afford him for the whole movie, but he's not around for the end. But if it's basically this kind of movie is, I kind of wonder if John Waters saw this movie, because it is kind of almost like a pre-Serial Mom, right down to having those kind of, the titles where they like the 3rd of May, sort of a Tuesday and things like that. Reminding me very much of kind of Serial Mom. And also the humor in it as well. You've got this fantastic maid who's supposed to be this Mexican maid, who's played by an Italian-American actress, who just says kind of all these random Spanish swear words, and then gets attacked by the mother-in-law, but she throws toast at her.
And she squirts washing up liquid on her.
She does squirt washing up liquid. And then she says things like she catches the maid having sex with a teenage son in the garage. And then while the maid is ironing, she says, "Why don't you iron that with your ass?" And then sort of then kills her with the iron. So it's that kind of movie, basically. But it also, strangely, at the end of the movie, because not only she gets put away in the asylum once at the start, but she also gets put away again about the 2/3 mark, and manages to break out of the asylum again the second time, and then is driven home by an adult actor, and there's some joke about him having a big penis, and then she goes around, and Joe Estevez has gone on this fishing trip with his son, so it's just the daughter and the mother in the house. And so she's dressed in the nurse's uniform, and she goes around, she tries to kill Arlene with this massive knife, and Arlene fights back with a plastic broom, which I don't think is very effective. But she also...
They're very light.
But then Arlene she was making a chocolate pie, so she puts in her face with this custard pie. So you've got this murderous mother-in-law dressed in the nurse's uniform with a custard pie in her face, going around with this big butcher's knife around the house. And it sort of turns into this kind of mini slasher movie. So... overall, it's not a great movie, but it's a fun movie, and it's kind of someone's done a 4K upscale on YouTube if you're curious, as I mentioned at the end of the last show. So Nathan, I'm going to hand this over to you now, because A Murder-in-Law, I think, is kind of much more typically in your wheelhouse, but I'm taking it you are a fan of this movie.
Yes, I saw it way back in the day, and slashers have always been my, number one type of movie, of course. But I've always loved From Hell movies as well. So whenever I see one I've never heard of, I'm excited to watch it because, sometimes you get strapped gold with something like this one. And I did strap gold when I got to watch it, because what I love about this movie is that in a lot of these movies, take Hand That Rocks the Cradle, right? when Peyton comes into that family, she's very sweet to all of them, very unassuming. Like she does all these horrible things behind their backs. But in this movie, Millie is basically dialed up to 100 for the second she crosses the door. I mean, she seems completely insane. She never seems sane in this movie. And it's like you said, there's the scene where the maid, I mean, first of all, she's racist to the maid right from the beginning. And I'm like, to me, right then and there, I would have thrown her out of my house if I was, the son. I'm like, that wouldn't be cool. But, the son is just one of these like, oh, it's fine kind of, personalities. And you just want to smack him throughout this whole movie because he acts like nothing that's happening is all that bad. There's a scene where, the mom calls and she's like, or she's telling him she attacked, the maid today. And he starts laughing like, oh, come on. And I'm like, what? Does he think this maid just randomly decided to start lying about people for no reason whatsoever? But yeah, she's completely like rude and vicious to the daughter-in-law right from the get-go. And I could not believe how much the son was letting slide by the way she was treating his wife. Like she was being terrible. And it's not like he even has a close relationship with her. He hasn't seen her in 10 years, but he's acting like they have some unbreakable bond and, they, he can't do anything that could be considered wrong towards her. The kids are kind of, I don't know, insignificant. I mean, the son, I don't remember much about anything he does except have sex with the maid.
He gives his sister a piggyback as well.
Oh yeah, there's that. The daughter, I mean, I thought we were going to get maybe some fun, cat and mouse sequences with the daughter, but I mean, she kind of, eliminates her. I mean, spoiler alert, like not really, she don't die, but she kind of like incapacitates her right away. So the daughter really doesn't do much in the finale. It's all Arlene versus Millie. And like you said, Justin, I think that Arlene has watched a lot of Three Stooges because she knew the pie defense. If anybody's coming at you with a humongous butcher knife, just hit them with a pie. I think that'll be very effective, like in this film. And it's pretty funny, like you said, just watching her run around in this nurse's uniform with a giant knife and pie all over her face. It's just unbelievably ludicrous, but it's played very serious. And, I think like stuff like that is really fun when the movie, I guess, takes itself very seriously when it's just not serious at all. I love the actress that plays Millie. I think she's hilarious in this role. Would have loved to see her in other things. She did play Dr. Dornwinkle's mother in The Invisible Man. And I know all of you remember, Invisible Maniac. And I'm sure you all remember that scene and that actress because it's a very unforgettable scene. Thank you. I was just waiting for some reassurance. But anyway, yeah, 2 thumbs up from me just because it's just a lot of fun. It's ridiculous.
Did you notice any similarities to another San Francisco shot, sort of type of slasher movie with a certain lady dancing around the city?
Yes. Okay. Yes. I love that she channeled Ethel Janowski to put on the daughter-in-law's, lovely, her best dress, because the daughter-in-law mentions later she's wearing my best dress, which for one is not flattering on the murder-in-law. She's not, it's not flattering her in this dress. And I'm like, she's very inappropriate towards her grandchildren. But yeah, it's anybody that can channel Ethel Janowski's freedom dance out in public is A-okay in my book.
Well, especially the scene when because she dances around San Francisco, doesn't she? And like when they say you should dance like no one's watching, it's kind of literally like this, isn't it? She's kind of spinning around, and then she falls on her ass on on this bit of grass, doesn't she? And gets grass stains all over the dress. But I'm sure we have more to say, Nathan. But Erik, I take it this was a first time watch for you.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of Murder-in-Law before. It's another gem that Nathan has dug out for us. I really enjoyed it as well. It delivered exactly what I was hoping after hearing the synopsis from Nathan, a couple of weeks back. A lot of the talking points I have, you've already mentioned, but I mean, the first thing I noted was this asylum is straight out of Dark Sanity. All the doors are open. The people with mental illnesses, they're the kind of mental patients that talk gibberish and spin around a lot and skip and stuff like that. I liked the decor in Millie's cell. It was like drawings of Satan and satanic musings written on the wall, like "I hate everyone." She also has this 75 RPM 7-inch single that she uses as a decoration. Now, I couldn't make out what it was, but she looks like a girl with taste, so I'm guessing it's Toya or Kajagoogoo that she has.
Well, you'd have to be in a mental asylum.
Exactly. Yeah, she's been put away.
I thought the nurses at the nurse station to start as well, I thought were channeling the shopkeeper in Nail Gun Massacre in terms of their acting prowess. She had tapioca for dessert and now she thinks she has spiders in her stomach. Joe Estevez, oh dear, his hairstyle, it kind of sits really high above his head.
What did you think of his pink slacks and baby blue polo shirt? Oh my God!
Well, yeah, I was going to mention them as well. It's like the way his hair is done, it makes his head look huge, and his golfing trip outfit, his pink trousers, but also kind of fun. And like Justin, I just couldn't help but notice that he's gone for half the film on trips. He's set up as the main character and then just fucks off fishing and golfing for the rest of the movie. He's not exactly husband of the year either for leaving his wife with his mother-in-law, the crazy mother-in-law, while he goes off fishing and playing golf. And his wife, I thought, Justin put up a picture of the wife before I had a chance to watch the movie, and I thought instantly she looked like a parallel universe version of Mrs. Voorhees, if she was kind of suburban businesswoman housewife. I did get Crazy Fat Ethel vibes as well, not just because of the spinning and dancing, but also because there was, at the start, there's these long, languid scenes of people sitting around a dinner table in this really dreary looking house, and there's no music score underneath or anything, and the cuts are minimal, and there's kind of this background loop of sound effects of cutlery on plates, and it just felt really, really Crazy Fat Ethel at that stage. When Arlene was dancing in San Francisco, I felt really sorry for the actress, because it's obvious the film crew are miles away from where she is, and so she's got to go dancing around the streets of San Francisco, and the people around her have no idea she's part of a movie, so they probably just think she's a complete nutcase, which takes guts, I think.
But it was Millie, not Arlene, though.
Millie, sorry, Millie, yeah. And I loved... like when Arlene is looking through Millie's possessions sort of early on in the movie, and she picks up this figurine or statue, whatever it is, and she drops it not once but twice in this really kind of unnatural and stagey manner, which made me giggle. I love the scene where she goes wandering. I've already mentioned that, the wandering around in the black dress, which it does look strange on her. I mean, when she puts on all the makeup, she looks about 20 years younger, I thought. Yeah, the husband is just unbelievable, Nathan. You're right. I mean, you just want to slap him, because he's seen that Millie is wearing Arlene's best dress, and then Arlene says, "Look, she's destroyed our room. She's destroyed my wardrobe," and she says, "Oh yeah," and he's like, "Oh, you have no proof." But she's wearing my dress. Who else do you think did it? Yeah.
She does draw that picture of the cat with Arlene's head on it with "Die Bitch,"
yeah, as well,
written on the blind, which is probably a subtle clue that she's bit unhinged.
God. I kind of like the intentional humor in the film as well. You mentioned that the son Todd has sex with Carmen, the housemaid, and then Arlene later says to Todd, "Oh, did Carmen come? Or did Carmen come?" And the son is like, "What do you mean? I mean, did she come to work?" And he goes, "Oh, right, yes." I thought that was kind of fun. I thought the Christine Brinkley more like, was almost as good as one of my jokes. Almost. I love the kitty treat commercial as well. It had a song in it that was really memorable, but, well, I say really memorable, but I can't remember what it goes like, but it was really catchy. Nathan, can you sing it for us?
I can't. I'm sorry.
Okay. They're watching there's obviously a commercial on the television for some cat food, and it's obviously made by the filmmakers. It's not a pre-existing one, but it's very, very silly. The final 15 minutes I thought were surprising, especially when it looked like Grandma or Millie appears to kill her granddaughter, which I thought was a really sort of wow moment in the film. Of course, it turns out that Melissa is not actually dead, but for a while there it looked like it was going into darker territory. But I did love that Arlene spends, the finale of the movie as the final girl in this insanely 80s pale blue jumpsuit, which was fantastic. And I thought that when Millie has that black pie, is it chocolate pie or something?
Chocolate, yeah.
Pushed into her face, and she spends the rest of the movie looking like kind of a zombie from a 1980s Italian movie, which made a strange film even stranger. It's a big thumbs up from me. I really, really enjoyed it. It's like Crazy Fat Ethel, except with a plot.
Before I come to you, Joseph, one thing quickly to remind, did you notice that Charcoal the cat was played by two different cats?
Oh, I didn't know.
One of them was really fluffy, with a massive fluffy tail, the one that runs under the bed, and the one that Arlene's carrying. But when you see the cat on the lawn, it's a short-haired black cat. So it was a completely different cat, whose real name in the credits is listed as Satan the cat.
Oh,
wow.
Which is a great name for a cat.
Yeah.
So, but Joseph, I can see you are brimming with excitement about talking about Murder-in-Law. So what are your thoughts on this movie?
Yeah, first time watch for me, and might not be my last. What can I say that you haven't guys already said? Murder-in-Law stars Joe Estevez, and he's not the crazy one, though he is still the absolute worst husband ever. I howled with laughter.
Worse than Justin Kurzweil.
Is he? Yeah, well, maybe. I howled with laughter during the scene where his wife shows him that the mother-in-law has trashed the bedroom, and the first words out of his mouth are, "Who could have done this?" He's such an aloof sad sack, completely blind to this fruitcake woman throwing toast, graffiti tagging the drapes, and shouting racial epithets at the maid because she's his long-lost mommy, and surely this is all a misunderstanding in his mind. I mean, he goes so far out of his way to avoid any responsibility for his psycho mother wreaking havoc on his home life. At one point, he just shrugs his shoulders and goes golfing with his work buddy. And then later, when he finally has mom recommitted to the insane asylum, he goes fishing with his son, and is conveniently missing from the final reel when mommy busts out for a second time and nearly kills the wife and daughter. I mean, once he goes fishing, that's it. We never see him again. Like, he's the embodiment of the disbelieving idiot trope times infinity. Completely useless and gee whiz about everything. It almost becomes an art form watching him, watching how he'll weasel out of the next predicament thrown his way. And sometimes it actually feels like an indictment on women, giving the male characters these trap doors out of their problems while all the women have to suffer. I mean, what else can I say? This is a really bad movie, but damn it if I wasn't entertained. I love the lax security at these mental asylums. The first one the mother escapes from has every last door either unlocked or left wide ass ajar. And the second one is no better, as the mother character more or less pulls a vaudeville routine to escape. This is probably an indictment, like Justin said, on the mental health industry in the 80s, the Reagan era mental health industry, but it certainly doesn't act like a proper thriller, whether this is a slasher or not, but it behaves pretty much like a great bad movie should, with inexplicably awful characterization and slapdash scenes of true what the fuckery, all done on the cheap, of course, and I had a great time with it on that basis. Don't go in expecting thrills, pathos, or any semblance of logic, and you'll have a great time. I did. And I also wanted to mention the really horrible bit of comedy when the mother-in-law tells the grandson that, about the maid, she's diseased. So the next scene, he's in the bathroom scrubbing his willy with rubbing alcohol, and they focus on it for like a minute. My God, what a movie. I loved it.
I love the scene at the very beginning when the Millie first gets there and the cat runs out and she just dramatically throws herself onto the bed and just kind of lays there like with her head on the bed staring. It was just a really weird moment. And to me, I would have probably figured out something was wrong with her or brought off the bat, just because, like I said, and to me, I guess what's weird is in the scene where she attacks Carmen with bread. Carmen is
and
in the
washing up
kitchen.
liquid.
Yes, she's in the kitchen just doing dishes, and you basically got Millie sitting, like in the other room, probably about, I don't know, like 10 feet from her, and she just kind of throws a piece of bread, and then Carmen just rolls her eyes and grabs it and throws it in the garbage, and then she does it again and again. And I was just thinking to myself, I would quit. There's no way I would work. Well, I'd just be like, look, you tell me when you've gone and then I'll come back. But I'm not working there while she's there. I mean, she's literally making messes on purpose for me to clean up.
I would not have felt comfortable being left on my own in that house with that mother-in-law. If I was the wife.
No.
I would not, like, even when she's not showing any sort of sinister behavior, she's just too weird. I would not be happy at all.
Everybody else sees how weird this woman is, but the son.
I do like the scene when Joe Estevez's friend comes before they go golfing, and she kind of walks out of this bush, and he thinks, "Who's that homeless lady?" And then he says, she says, "This is my mom," and then she says, "Are you French?" to him, and he says, "Well, I think one of my ancestors." And she said, "Oh, you've got a lovely city. Paris is such a beautiful city. You're so lucky," even though it was his great-great-grandfather was from France. And the other thing that made me laugh was a couple of things. Was one, that no one had informed Joe Estevez that his mother had been put away for murder in an insane asylum, and no one had informed him that she'd broken out. And also, this woman who'd not only broken out in an insane asylum as once murderer, but also impaled an orderly and killed an orderly on the way out. They let him bring her back in a taxi or in a car. So they didn't even send the police out. Obviously, they couldn't afford the budget.
But once she escaped, they never even thought of going to the son's house to see if she'd turned up there.
Well, to be fair, it's kind of blink, or if you sneeze, you'll miss this plot point. But when he's talking to the doctor on the phone, he's like, "We tried to, contact you, but we didn't even know who she was. We didn't know she had a son. So I don't think they really knew who she was."
Well, she couldn't have been that good son. She didn't invite her son to the wedding, did she, of the French sculptor she murdered?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, sounds like she had cut him off like beforehand.
Yeah, there's like no familial bond between the mother and the son. She just shows up, and it just, like, she walks through the door and it all starts. Like, you don't have any kind of indication of history between these two characters that they are mother and son. And the way he acts when he opens the door and she first shows up, he's like so shocked. You think he's going to be like questioning her behavior the whole time, but no, he's just like fine with it. He's like, whatever, it's just what it is.
Yeah, but she turns up and she's so mean from the off, and the next morning she gets up and then she comes down and Darlene says, "Did you sleep well?" She said, "No, I was up all night listening to your fuck sounds."
Yes.
And again, like, you're out of my house. I mean, it's like, anybody with half of a brain would have kicked her out long before the son did. I mean, and I like Darlene, but even she put up with way too much that I think any reasonable person would put up with.
Yeah, I'm of the mindset that blood is not thicker than water, especially when it comes to this family. No way.
I would have liked to see a prequel, though, when they, Joe Estevez and Arlene's, the character Arlene got married, and then Millie would have been at the wedding. Could you imagine the kind of faces you've been putting on the wedding?
Oh, yes. Well, she's so immature. She'd probably be sticking her tongue out at them and, making faces during the wedding, because she acts like she's a little kid in this whole movie.
If she were at the wedding, like, if she would have caught the flowers and then thrown them right back at whoever threw them at her.
Like, I would have seen a sequel for sure.
Well, they could have been. Well, it kind of ends with, not spoil it, but obviously, as you probably, if you've seen any of these kind of films or any slasher movie, you kind of know. But especially in From Hell movies, 9 times out of 10, it ends with someone either flying through a window or going off a balcony. And this film is no different. Although there's no indication. It's a shame they didn't cut to Millie's body and then an eye open. That's
what I thought it was going to do at the end, or I thought it was going to pan back and the body was gone.
Like a Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Yes, that would have been fun. But I was going to say there was something else that occurred to me, and I can't remember what it was, apart from just say that obviously Marilyn Adams as Millie is kind of like kind of an amazing bad movie actress, isn't she?
Yes.
She was, because I do remember, where have I seen her before? And you're right, it was Invisible Maniac when we covered that, Mrs. Dorwinkle. But she was also, or Dornwinkle, sorry, but she's also had like minor roles in, I think, in Zipper Face, which I've not seen. It's like And also, there's a couple other movies, but like real kind of just basic things like Motel Owner and things like that, or Bag Lady. So I was trying to find out who she was, and on IMDb it says that she was married to someone called Neil Adams, who's passed away, but he was like a really big name in comic books. He was a kind of comic artist and did stuff with Superman and things. But I did some sleuthing work, and I found a picture of her before he passed away at a kind of comic book convention, and it clearly isn't the same woman. So this Marilyn Adams, whoever is the Marilyn Adams is in Zipper Face and Murder-in-Law, around this time, I could find no information at all about her. But how old do you think she was in this? Because I think Joe Estevez was 43 when he made this. I looked this up in 1988.
She doesn't really look old enough to be his mother, if I'm honest. Maybe 55, 50.
But that would make her about 90 now, wouldn't it? So I don't think it is. It's not the same. So, but I can find no information about this woman really, apart from what she'd been in, unless it had linked back to this other Marilyn Adams, which I'm pretty sure isn't the same person. Although in breaking news on Bluesky, I did put and asked if anyone knew, and someone's tagged Neil Adams, one of his sons, to ask it if it's his mother. So I'll check while we're doing some of the bits later and see if he's got back to me in breaking news.
Wow,
but,
it's like we're in a newsroom.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yes. So, well, anyway, some background. So, Joseph, have you got anything?
No, I don't have anything at all.
Okay, well, no worries. And Nathan, how about you? I'm just checking my Bluesky to see if there's been an update.
I do know that Arlene was not played by Sandy Duncan.
The eye gave it away, didn't it?
Yes.
What's this about Sandy Duncan's eye?
She's got was it a glass eye?
She has a glass eye.
Yeah.
Oh, does she? Okay.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's nothing in the IMDb trivia section, is there?
Erik, I feel like you were kind of pulling a Justin there.
This is not at all from IMDb. No, not at all, Justin. It got a reissue title of Millie in the United States, and that's it.
Okay, right. But what I have been able to dig up, I dug up a few bits and pieces. It's directed by someone called Tony Jitty Gill, who thought with a name like that I'd find lots of information about him. But it turns out he's like an English-Indian director who basically got a degree in filmmaking in Hollywood in 1986, and this was kind of a project with some other people classmates of his, but the only other thing he directed was that I could find was a documentary on the Indian Elvis, who so called Rocking Sikh from 1986. He was involved. He wrote some kind of sappy kind of romantic or kind of kids drama in year 2000, but apart from that I've been able to find absolutely nothing else about him. It was shot on 35mm, which surprised me, so on locations in Los Angeles and San Francisco in 1988. Now what I did do is I found an interview with the guy who plays Todd, who was the actor Daryl Gilbo, who was a 26-year-old actor who's playing 18. He said he played younger roles because he looked younger. So an interview with the Daily Advertiser, he was from Louisiana, and I think it was a local paper there, and he said that it was in the vein of Hush, 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 Sweet Charlotte. So basically it's the idea of it being kind of an updated hacksploitation movie, like an old Bette Davis, Joan Crawford, whatever happened to Baby Jane type movie. So I think that's the idea behind it. And he said that he really enjoyed working with Joe Estevez, and to quote, he says, "We, the whole cast, really came together from the first cast meeting we had." So quite what Marilyn Adams was like in real, I don't know. But he said it's a very bizarre film. Grandma's a bit off the wall, which is kind of it's understatement. Far enough. And he says it's a suspense movie, but there are some comedic moments. And he said it would probably appeal to teenagers, but he's hoping some adults will be drawn in with the In-Law title.
Well, what you said, Justin, coming off what you just said about the son, that interview, you said he was 26. He's playing like a 17 or 18-year-old kid, but the writing in this movie, like, he's all upset and he kind of throws a fit because his dad won't take him fishing. That's like the behavior of like a 7-year-old. Like, but you were going to take me fishing. And the dude's like working on a motorcycle and smoking pot, and he's acting like a 7-year-old about this fishing trip. It's very weird.
Yeah, it is very odd. I mean, you've got there's also the daughter. I can't remember. I haven't got a name to hand, but
Melissa.
Melissa, yeah. She went on to be like a theatre star. She did like some comedy theatre, but not much else, I don't think. I couldn't find who the woman played Arlene. I think I may have found her on Facebook, but I'm not sure if it's the right person or not. But yeah, this is her one and done role, which is kind of surprising. She wasn't that. It didn't feel like a one and done role, as in as much she wasn't like a great thespian, but she was competent enough, wasn't she, in a role that kind of, because really the whole film was kind of the battle between Arlene and Millie, wasn't it? Really.
I was remembering, Justin, earlier in the week, we were talking about this through Signal chats, and you sent that picture of Arlene and Melissa holding hands while they're watching that movie, and you're like, this is the exact same thing that Stuart and I were doing while we were watching the movie.
We were so engrossed, we had to hold hands because we couldn't, the tension.
Tension, unbearable tension.
What did he think about it?
Yeah, he really enjoyed it. He kind of thought it was fun. So it's kind of a rare opportunity to actually get him to watch some, like a really shit movie. Not it is a really shit movie, but like films that are like on the more Nathan side of the the fence.
And it's not just Nathan slasher picks that are fun. There's Nathan picks from L movies. Nathan picks drama movies even.
Well, I do. What do you think this could have been an influence on Serial Mom?
Was it widely available?
Well, it didn't get a cinema release, shockingly. It didn't get a video release until it got released in October 1992 in the United States. So it was filmed in 88. So it kind of basically sat on the shelf for 4 years before anything happened with it. But it did get a video release in the United States. So Serial Mom was 94. But I mean, obviously lots of differences, but it's just kind of striking. Some of the humour felt like kind of John Waters-esque, didn't it?
Yeah.
And also that whole thing for really nonsensical, having that kind of like Wednesday, the 4th of June, flashing up on the screen, and then sort of Thursday, 5th of June, sort of as like the next day type thing, apropos of nothing particularly, apart from it's almost like sort of like a true crime documentary, but not quite. The other thing that I thought, I don't know, the scene, we were talking about Arlene and Melissa sitting on the couch watching that film, and then they turned to each other and said, "Oh, what a great movie! I wonder who directed that." So I thought there must have been an in-joke.
Maybe it was one of his short, like the director, maybe he made like a short film or like a home movie or something, and they were watching that.
It might have been a student movie or something, mightn't it? Because it was.
Do we see any of it, or do we just hear the dialogue?
No, you do see it, but it's kind of like a gangster movie, isn't it? Where older guy gets shot by a younger guy. So anyway, I'll carry on looking into it, and if I do, I haven't heard back. Checking it in real time now from on Bluesky. I'm just having a look now, and nothing yet.
While you're looking at that, you said something about this being released in 1992 was that 4 years after it was made. I always said like 90 through 93 was kind of a bleed over from the late 80s fashions, but even by 1992, his pink pants must have been very off-putting for anyone watching this on video.
But yes, so Murder-in-Law, as I mentioned before, someone has I think it's Cult Shit Pictures or something, Cult Shit Films, who's upscaled it to 4K. Wow. But I also noticed that they've upscaled the Dan Haggerty movie Elves to 4K, which is another great... Have we covered Elves? Did we cover it? We did, didn't we? So that might be our Christmas pick for personal, our Christmas Day movie this year, because I tried to find a decent version of it online, and it all looks terrible, but it's kind of, someone's upgraded it to 4K, so that might be one for Christmas Day, for goodwill to all men and all that. But well, let's talk about what we've been watching recently. I know we recorded yesterday.
What of the listeners?
Yeah, we actually did get feedback on this movie.
Oh, okay.
This one says, certainly an overlooked horror film. I suppose you could say not much happens, but the gradual disintegration of domestic tranquility, thanks to the wonderful Marilyn Adams, makes this one worth the price of admission alone. Her portrayal of Millie is sublimely vulgar, yet strangely sincere. That was from Sean Guillermo. Takes a while to become a slasher, but in the meantime, you get Millie throwing toast at the maid. I think I remember an impressive stomach slash against a bare stomach, and the wife saying she has totally destroyed her room immediately after showing her husband the dead cat. Not essential stuff. That's another thing. Every time there's a cat in a From Hell movie, they end up dying, like you said, Justin, and it's no different here.
Or a dog. There's a dog or a cat. Or in the case of Scorned, the parrots.
Not essential stuff, but better than you'd expect considering nobody ever brings this one up. That's from Joshua Grattan. And this one says, wow, talk about a deep cut. Excited to hear how the hell you guys landed on this one.
Nathan.
It's Justin's pick, but yeah. Martin Sheen's infinitely less talented brother, Joe Estevez, plays a wealthy family man who is surprised by the sudden arrival of his presumed dead mother, who disappeared off the reservation nearly 10 years prior. The slashing doesn't really get going until the end, but the build-up is worth the wait. The movie was obviously made for the current price of a Big Mac, and I'm willing to cut it some slack for that. Overall, not very good, but could be a nice watch for bad movie genre enthusiasts. And that was from Austin Stenberg.
Excellent. I'm pretty sure I found a listing for a revival showing of it in Los Angeles at some point in the last 10 years on 35mm. So if you are in Los Angeles, you may be lucky enough to watch it if it ever turns up at the Beverly or wherever it is. Well, I'm glad, actually surprised we got that much feedback on it, so that's good.
That was the only feedback we got on it, but it was enough.
But yeah, well, let's see what else we've been watching since yesterday.
What about my fun play on words?
Oh, Christ.
This is the second episode in a row Justin just keeps skipping over everything.
I know.
It's my joke of the week. It's so freaking fantastic.
You're not going to regret this, Justin. You're going to love this joke. What you call an actor who dispenses sweets, or candy, if you will, out of his mouth? Joe Estevez.
You know what, Eric? That joke was worthy of this film.
You've got a gong rather than a sad trombone. Well done, Erik. That's
Thank you.
One of your better ones.
You know, in this movie, though, his character might as well have been a big Pez dispenser.
Yes.
Because he didn't do anything else.
Nope.
Apart from turn up and get his check.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, now we are going to talk about what we've been watching in the last, since we recorded yesterday, but I think some of us might have kept back a film or two to talk about. So, Joseph, have you seen anything since yesterday you want to tell us about?
Yeah, I caught up with VHS Halloween, and it's a VHS film, so you're pretty much going to get exactly what you expect. To be honest, I'm struggling to remember most of it except for one story that really stood out, and that one involves trick-or-treaters getting, I guess, kind of sucked into a parallel reality where they're stalked by a candy mascot who turns them into kind of confectionery treats. This particular story is really wild and very exciting, though it's also kind of indicative of why I've kind of tuned out of the VHS series, and that's because the series really has no rules or internal logic. Each movie pretty much kind of nixes character and story for spectacle, and I guess that's okay, considering, we're basically watching a collection of short films and not a full-blown narrative, but I think when anything goes, nothing is really surprising anymore. I also feel that these movies are stale and, kind of repetitive in their characterization, which usually consists of nothing more than people constantly screaming, "What the fuck? What the fuck was that?" Kind of ad nauseum. I also feel that since the spectacle keeps getting more and more outlandish and otherworldly, the fact that someone keeps the camera rolling while all of this is going on is just kind of incomprehensible. But overall, if you've made it this far into the VHS series, you're going to get your money's worth here. And again, that candy mascot story is really a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. The special effects in it were really good. It's just full-blown spectacle, how it should be done. But I think maybe on the whole, maybe it's time for VHS to kind of upgrade to DVD or Blu-ray.
Well, one of the films in that was shot on an iPhone, wasn't it? It was kind of walking around that abandoned monastery or whatever it was, and they were filming on an iPhone, which kind of felt like a bit of a cheat.
They're all obviously set in modern day. So
well, they weren't originally. Well, I suppose when they did the dates to them, they were ostensibly meant to be set during those dates, weren't they?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I really liked VHS Halloween. I liked the first story as well, where the girls who are too old to be trick-or-treating find that sort of spooky house and then find themselves locked in there. Thought that was really effective. I like that second one, which was in whatever language it was. I can't remember, Italian, Spanish, French, whatever it was. The third one, which was the candy bowl, which is the portal to another dimension, was brilliant. The fourth one, I felt it was where it lost momentum for me, really, which was that Photoshop one. It's
too downbeat.
Yeah. And then the fifth one with the haunted house, the guy who runs the haunted house for his local community. I thought that one was quite fun as well. It picked up for the finale. And the wraparound with the demonic fizzy drink I thought was kind of fun, although it didn't really have any kind of... It didn't really have any payoff, but I thought it was kind of fun while it was there. But overall, I still really like the VHS series. I usually find that there's 60 to 70% of really good stuff in them, and that's enough to keep me going, I think.
Excellent. Okay. Was there anything else, Joseph?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. Well, thank you. Nathan, how about you?
Well, I watched VHS Halloween as well, and I kind of agree with what you guys have said. I like them. I find them entertaining enough while I'm watching them. I'm usually pretty entertained because, the stories aren't very long. So even if you, I guess, kind of get one that, you're not that interested in, I mean, it's only like 15 minutes or so. So it's not, that bad. I think that, I don't know if this is much of a criticism, I guess, for me. It's just that a lot of the stories, they just kind of don't go anywhere. Like the last story with the haunted record, and it kind of turns all the stuff in this haunted house, kind of brings it to life, and they just start killing everybody. But I mean, there's not anything to it outside of that. I mean, it's like, there's no other plot, really. So, I mean, you kind of just have to go in like just wanting to see some crazy special effects and imagery and all that kind of stuff, which is kind of what I felt about the first and the last story, is that there may not have been, I guess, a lot of, plot there, but I mean, the creepy images and, the characters, the killers, and, the special effects I thought were really great to be, such a low budget movie. So, I was glad about that. The weaker stories for me are probably the second and the second to last one. It's the Spanish one, which was fine, but I just kind of thought the other ones were a little bit more fun. And the one with the kids getting killed and the whole missing, or they're doing these videos in case any of the kids go missing. It was fun. I guess for me, it was just maybe a little bleaker than what I like in my horror. It just felt like such a downer to me. And kind of, I don't know. That one, I guess, just, it wasn't my favorite in the group. And I think I'm going to agree with Erik. And I believe Joseph, was saying the same thing. It's the story in the middle that is actually the best story in the bunch, because it's really interesting. It's kind of, it doesn't take itself too seriously. You have the whole thing of leaving a bowl of candy out, and it's like, just take one. So it's one of those that you break the rules of Halloween, then you're going to have to pay for it. And I just thought this image of this guy getting pulled through this bowl of candy was just really funny to me, because then you see his feet sticking out and they're trying to pull him out of this bowl of candy. It's just very silly.
This might seem like a weird comparison, but the scene where they first discover the candy bowl and the little red hand grabs him by his wrist and starts pulling him through the candy, the way they did this, it really reminds me of the raft in Creepshow 2, where the stuff kind of gloms onto you and it won't let go and you can't get away from it. I kind of got a Creepshow 2 vibe from that a little bit.
Yeah, because, I mean, once it pulled them in, I mean, there was, definitely no way they were getting out of there alive.
I love the bit where one of the girls runs away and it's like, yeah, that's the right thing to do, but then she turns around and the bowl is flying towards her.
It stinks, because then you're also like, some of them didn't take more than one piece of candy, and I guess they had to die too. Yes, it's the company you keep.
Lay down with dogs, you get fleas.
Yeah, I mean, to me, even the worst story is, passable. So, yeah, I had fun with it. And the wraparound story, I just kept wondering what is happening here. I mean, what's going on? They're trying to market this drink that's killing people. I'm like, you're kind of hurting your own market.
It's a poltergeist drink, and I don't understand that to begin with. Like, what's the big deal with putting some poltergeist in a pop drink? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
I'm like, what is it doing for you? Like, I couldn't understand. There was a lot of questions left unanswered for me about the wraparound story, because I really want to know why. Like, who came up with this soda? Why are you trying to market it when it just kills people?
Maybe it's Silver Shamrock pop drink, maybe.
I mean, just think about like you're never going to get a returning customer.
I think Eric's right. I think they were kind of going for a Halloween 3 kind of element with that. Maybe now that I think about it, yeah.
Yeah, but they keep trying to refine it. Like, it keeps killing people, so that they should be happy with it just killing people, but they seem to be trying to refine it down so that it does something specific.
Well, maybe they only want like certain types of deaths. Maybe they don't want exploding kids, or maybe they just want people to bleed out of their eyes.
And different reactions to everybody that tries it too, because some people like die immediately. I think there was one character that takes a drink and they're like, "How are you?" And she's just like, "I'm fine," like nothing. And then of course a bunch of crazy stuff happens. But yeah, I think VHS now. Although I was kind of curious with you guys, like, which VHS do you guys think is the strongest entry in that series? Or do you just not remember any of them?
I don't remember which one's which. I can remember certain episodes that I liked.
I think it all kind of rolls into one, to be honest, because everything is kind of like that take on the tropes of the found footage movie, which is lots of people running and going, look at that, shut doors opening and something freaky be behind it, and people shutting doors and then catching glimpses of things and everyone dying. So there hasn't really been anything that, as fun as that is, it's kind of like I guess it's like a fairground ride, isn't it? There's no preamble to it. There's no kind of knowing the characters or anything like that. It's just you go straight into the good stuff, in inverted commas, without any of the build up, which of course in a lot of ways means you get that fairground ride, but you get no engagement with the characters or any kind of emotional investment in anything happening to them, unlike maybe some other found footage movies. So, but they all kind of meld into one for me. They're fun. They're basically like a Halloween candy bowl, aren't they? They're fun while you're eating it, but then when you finish, you feel a bit sick and you can't remember anything about it.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. So, and that was really the only thing I saw. I did rewatch Halloween's 4 and 5.
5? We only watched 5 a few weeks ago.
I know, but it was I was over at a friend's house and they were wanting to watch the Halloweens and they'd already watched 1 and 2. So they were like, "Well, how about 4 and 5?" And I was like, "Okay, fine, we'll watch 4 and 5." So, although I will say that watching part 4 again this time, I don't know if it's just because we were all hanging out, just, good vibes, I guess. I don't know, but I actually enjoyed 4 a lot more this time. I don't know why, but I did.
Okay, on that bombshell, thank you, Nathan. Erik, how about you?
Well, I watched Halloween 2, 1981's Halloween 2 last night, even though it was the 1st of November. But yeah, really enjoyed it as usual. But the two that I will mention this time is I watched the 2 sequels, straight to DVD sequels for I Spit on Your Grave, the remake from 2010. So there's a Spit on Your Grave 2 and there's an I Spit on Your Grave 3, which has a subtitle that I can't think of off the top of my head. But part 2 is an all new story. It's a story of a girl who is trying to get a modelling gig. She replies to an ad in a newspaper, goes to this kind of sleazy apartment. It's run by these Eastern Europeans, and we know that an Eastern European in an American horror movie is never good, which is kind of racist, I suppose, in a way. They're straight out of a Hostel movie, but they ask her to take her top off and she's like, "No thanks, no," and she leaves. But then they come after her and she is raped. Then she's drugged. She wakes up in Budapest or somewhere like that. Sofia in is it Hungary? Where she is chained up and repeatedly raped, and this goes on and on. She's beaten and raped for about a good hour of the film. It's really grim, and she eventually gets around to getting her revenge, which is bloody and gory as it is in the 2010 remake. So it's not a fun watch. It's a real proper torture porn type movie. I mean, it's very well made. It could easily have got a theatrical release, I think. I don't know if the 2010 remake got a theatrical release. That might have been straight to DVD as well. But it's really well made. It's relentlessly grim. And then I Spit on Your Grave 3 brings back the character from the first one, Jennifer Hill. Same actress comes back. And this film is more like a vigilante movie. It's kind of like Miss 45 or Thriller, A Cruel Picture, in that she is still traumatized from the events of the first movie, and she's just going out killing men that she assumes are potential rapists or she knows are rapists. She's in a support group. She's in kind of a group therapy thing, and she hears all these stories about there's one girl in it whose father raped her, so she goes out and kills him and that type of thing. So it's kind of a different genre of film, and it's lighter, I suppose, if you can use that term, than part 2 is. But it's not party viewing. I mean, Nathan, you wouldn't be going around to your friends with your bag of the devil's lettuce to watch a Spit in Your Grave marathon. But the thing that surprised me, I suppose, about these direct-to-DVD sequels is that they're actually quite well made, because I've dismissed the straight-to-DVD market as kind of, they're thrown together on a whim with no particular care. And, watching a good few of them in recent weeks, that's not necessarily the case. Some of them are actually quite good. And, they have a bit of a budget behind them. So there's a professional sheen to them, and actually they're perfectly watchable. So maybe picking some straight to DVD sequels for future picks. Although not on the next show though, because I have something else in mind for that one.
Okay, well.
So has anyone else seen those I Spit on Your Grave sequels?
It don't appeal to me, to be honest. I saw the I Spit on Your Grave many, many years ago, probably over 30 years ago, and I'd not really ever had any particular desire to watch it again. So the sequels haven't held any interest for me, to be honest. But that's me. I
saw part 2, the second one. I haven't seen the third one. I liked, I Spit on Your Grave. It's one of those, and I say this about the original and the remake. It's not a rewatchable movie. I do enjoy the revenge aspect, because it's cathartic to see these horrible people get what they deserve. But
to quote a famous movie,
that should be one of the VHS segments. Yeah, like the first half of the movies are just like brutal, and seeing some woman get raped repeatedly is just, it's a tough to watch. And so, while I do enjoy the revenge aspect, it's it's not usually worth it for me to rewatch, the whole movie. So I've only seen like them, I don't know, maybe a couple of times in my whole life, but enough to know about them.
Nathan, did you just say that the Old Federal Massacre 2 should be part of the VHS series?
Sure.
They found that footage in the garbage.
If you were here, I would throw this on you.
Is it cheap Chardonnay?
No, it's just water.
Cheap water.
Yeah, cause I mean that like some of the scenes of revenge are really graphic, but they kind of, because the characters deserve this so much, it's as you said, kind of cathartic. There is one scene involving a metal pole and a man's bottom that I'll leave the rest to your imagination.
Well, thank you, Erik, for that mental image. Is there anything else you've seen?
No, that would be it.
Okay. Well, just taking us back to Bluesky and breaking news.
Yes.
There isn't any breaking news, unfortunately, yet. But although Bluesky have flagged my picture of Marilyn Adams as mother-in-law in her bra as adult content. So it's put a sexual inappropriate warning over the picture of an old lady in her bra.
Bluesky is run by snowflakes.
And I'm just seeing on trending, it says Erik is a whore.
No, it doesn't. So
that's
stupid.
Trendy?
I'm not a whore.
So, but anyway, a couple of things I was going to mention, just kind of within the slasher from hell thing from what I've been watching, Erik. One I did mention last time was when we talked about The Paperboy, which is the more slasherific of the two. Another Canadian movie I mentioned in passing was Relative Fear, which is directed by George Mihalka, who, if that name rings a bell, he's director of obviously My Bloody Valentine. And this is one of the kind of the From Hell Kids from Hell movies along the lines of Mikey the Good Son and Daddy's Girl and a number of other movies. Now, this one is kind of interest because it's kind of a whodunit. So you've got this baby that is kind of, you think is evil, and he's so evil that he, even as a baby, a newborn, he managed to sort of draw blood from his mother's face with his baby nails after just being born.
Good Lord.
Exactly, but it does have a twist in it, which I won't spoil. But it's kind of based partly on a lot of these From Hell thrillers I found are kind of based on the kind of ripped from the headlines, and this one is kind of based partly on the Ken and Barbie killers. Is it what were they called? It was Karen Homolka, was it? Karen Homolka. It was the two.
Is it
Carla Homolka. That was it. And her boyfriend who killed sort of women in Canada. So you've got this. It's basically the idea of the film is what would happen if the Ken and Barbie killers had a baby and he got swapped in the hospital from this nice middle class piano teaching lady. So that's kind of but Denise Crosby plays a Carla Homolka character, and she's really over the top. She's kind of basically does a bit like Millie in Murder-in-Law when she gets it opens with her going to the hospital to give birth, and she's basically shouting out cocksucker and kicking out people. So it's a bit like Millie when she gets taken to the asylum in this. So it's kind of a fun movie, and it has a twist in the middle, which is kind of quite good. And it's also got somebody playing a grandfather who's got Alzheimer's, who takes photos of ladies jogging their bottoms as they go past the window, which turns into a plot point, which then reveals who the killer is.
He has Alzheimer's, so he's not allowed to be blamed.
No, but also the dog dies in this. But the other one I was going to mention was at the complete opposite end of the scale. It's a film I saw in the cinema. It's the Martin Scorsese remake of Cape Fear, which with Robert De Niro playing the kind of the main baddie, and Nick Nolte, Nick Nolte versus Robert De Niro, and there's also Jessica Lange in there as the housewife or the wife, and also what's her name, the Charlotte Lewis. Is it Charlotte Lewis? No, what was her name? Juliette Lewis. That was Juliette Lewis. So it's kind of interesting because I hadn't seen this since I saw it in the cinema. I may have seen it on video or something many back in the day, and I remember being pretty brutal. So I rewatched the original Cape Fear, who was directed by the director of Happy Birthday to Me. Bizarrely, it's kind of coincidence there, but it was going to surprise me actually how violent the remake was. And I was reading up with Martin Scorsese. He was saying that it was basically his take on modern 90s thrillers. So, and he didn't really want to make the film from what I can tell. And basically they said he can make The Last Temptation of Christ if he made this movie. So it was actually kind of, I felt like it was kind of a bit like, I need to have a think about it a bit more, but it felt like Martin Scorsese was taking the piss out of slasher movies and horror movies, and being quite sneery about them. But it's kind of, it's an interesting film. It looks great. But there's a scene in it, I don't know if you remember it, but it's not in the original movie at all. It's a scene when Robert De Niro breaks into the house, kills the private investigator, and dresses in drag as the maid and kills the maid as well, which is very slasher movie, but it's not in the original movie. It's just been added into this one. So
I love that movie. There's one scene though where Robert De Niro bites what's her name? Ileana Douglas. He bites her face.
Oh, yeah.
My God, that scene just bothers me so much.
Because there's seen it's Robert Mitchum's in. He's in the original Cape Fear as the baddie, and then they take the Charles Lawton movie Night of the Hunter, and they seem to. Have you ever seen that? It's a great movie. With Robert Mitchum playing the kind of psycho preacher in it, with Shelley Winters, and they've kind of moulded the two characters from that movie and the original Cape Fear in the remake. But anyway, that's what I've been watching recently. So I think we've still got a couple of listener feedbacks to read out, haven't we? So who would like to go first?
This one says, "Hi, Justin, Erik, Joseph, and Nathan. Haven't reached out in a while and thought I would drop you a line. I listened to your Texas Chainsaw 3D episode and couldn't agree more with your opinions. This is a very fun movie. I remember driving through a snowstorm to the last theater in my area, which was about 45 minutes away, that was playing this in 3D back in January of 2013, and I had a blast. Rewatched it in 3D on my VR headset the other day, and the film still holds up. I would say, other than Part 2 and the 2003 remake and its prequel, this is one of the better sequels. Also, recently rewatched Prince of Darkness, which gets better with each watch. Glad Erik picked it for the Patreon. Also checked out Double Exposure and Wrong Turn 2, which I enjoyed as well. I can always count on you guys for finally getting me to watch movies that have been on my to-watch list for years. Looking forward to the upcoming Drive-In Massacre and Mother's Boys episodes. 2 more films that I've been meaning to check out for a long time. That's it for now. Thanks for continuing to bring the hysteria year after year. And that's from Rob Balducci. And I will say, Rob, please write back and let us know what you think of Drive-In Massacre and Mother's Boys, since you said you hadn't caught up with them. I'm curious.
And Murder-in-Law, which I doubt was on Rob's to watch list, but hopefully is now.
Yeah, I want to hear everyone's opinions on Murder-in-Law.
Excellent. Well, thank you. And Erik, do you have one to hand?
Yes, this is Hey Fierce Foursome. Love the show. I've been a Hysteria Lives reader since the early 2000s and have listened to the Hysteria Continues since 2011. I found my way to the show via your episode on the initiation, as I saw it for the first time around 2009, 2010, and became instantly and deeply obsessed with it. I found Heidi and her glasses particularly iconic, so imagine my utter delight hearing that you tracked down and interviewed the Joy Jones, aka Joy Tipping. Anyway, 15 years ago, I started a short-lived YouTube channel where I reviewed slasher, exploitation and general trash cinema through a cultural studies and political economy lens. I was in grad school and reading a lot of Kant, tee-hee-hee, I think because it sounds like another word. He's put tee-hee-hee in brackets. Hegel and Bourdieu. I was recently catching up on comments on my videos from over the years and found this somewhat coherent gem. I think he means incoherent gem because I've pre-read this comment on my boarding house review, and from one of its stars, Mary McKinley, known today as Dr. Marielle McKinley, PhD. And I thought I'd share it with you. So he's pasted in this comment that Mary McKinley left. I am Mary McKinley. I played Cindy Carlton, the co-star thin brunette in pink bathing suit Sciences with Brian Brolin. That makes sense?
Yes, I know who she is.
Okay, and I die at end. Jonathan slashes my throat telekinetically. At beach, I fall into ocean. My character was from a wealthy DC family. In one of the movie trailers, you will see me at the pool in small pink bathing suit, trying cocaine, daying it's cheap. I think she means saying it's cheap. Recommending a Mr. Mason, one of my father's contacts. I mean, this is like boarding house, this comment.
It's very appropriate.
It was a lot of fun. I also helped cast some of the characters. The other star, the blonde that, as you said, at the end of the movie was the one killing everyone. She was a third co-star in a movie. I was lead Gmail number 1 star. I think female, probably. But it says Gmail number 1 star. Of that also was a historical piece. Ask me if you need it. There's no punctuation here at all. Ask me if you need info on why that was historical. California Girls, directed by William Webb. Oh my god, this is like it's gibberish. The blonde kept changing her name in these films. She was from UK and they overdubbed her voice in California Girls. Her accent was too obvious, but she had a perfect body, beautiful face, nice lady. As for Victoria, i.e. Calasu, i.e. Raven, was her band's name. She was a talented singer. Wow. That was like an LSD trip, that comment.
It feels like she's like communicating from the past through an Atari or something. Like,
yes,
that's how she's texting you back or something.
Or that kind of, what is it, web TV used to people, do you remember?
Anyway, there's a PS here from the original poster, Michael, who does write proper English. You may know me better as my retired drag queen persona, Clitorica Brown. I interacted with you a lot from my drag page on Facebook in the mid-2010s. PPS, Nathan, please pick Mardi Gras Massacre for the show. I can't see Joseph, Justin or Erik selecting it and it has you written all over it. You're my only hope. Yours in Hysteria, Michael.
Well, I'm sure Nathan very well might pick that, but also
He
I did
better,
review...
because there's not a chance in hell that I will pick that film.
Yeah, I reviewed it on Hysteria Lives within the last 6 months or so and had fun with it. And actually it's one that we watched with some friends on the big projector screen. So it's a little bit evil, if I remember correctly. So, excellent. Well, thank you to everyone who's written in, and also apologies it's taken so long to read them out. But please do write in and we promise to read them in a more timely manner. So we're not talking about films that we reviewed 10 years ago. So is there anything left to say apart from obviously Erik you're coming up, you've got the next choice. What are we going to be covering next time, Erik?
Well, why don't we cover Mardi Gras Massacre? I've never seen it.
It's continuing this Freaky Friday swap, except it's the spirit of Nathan has jumped into.
Yes.
It's jumped into Erik from behind. It's like one of those body horror. It's like Jason Goes to Hell, isn't it?
It is.
Except instead of a slug, it's kind of like Nathan type picks.
You're just like immersed in Murder in Law and then Mardi Gras Massacre. And then, who knows? So
I'm kind of wondering what Josie's going to pick next for Christmas now at this rate.
I already know. I think you guys already know.
Yeah, you did say, but it isn't like it's not going to turn out to be
It's
sort
a
of
good movie, I promise. Proper Christmas slasher movie.
Okay, so I was thinking, what can we play out with? But I think we'll play out with, I was trying to think of a song about mothers. So,
tell your children not to walk my way.
I was going to say play out with Slade's Mama, We're All Crazy Now. So I think that's kind of appropriate, isn't it?
Well, more appropriate than Mama by the Spice Girls.
Yes, yeah, which it would have been very underwhelming. So we're going to play out with that. Well, I hope you enjoyed Murder-in-Law, and we'll be back with some more top quality entertainment, which I do think, I wonder if it actually played Mardi Gras Massacre. I think it may have played at British cinemas. I might be wrong, but it certainly was one of the infamous video nasties. So that'll be an interesting one to cover. But we'll catch you next time on The Hysteria Continues. So thank you for watching or listening, and say goodbye to the good people.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
I said, Mama, we're all